I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Aloha, welcome to Unity Church of Maui's Sunday service. Elizabeth Gilbert tells a story of a time when she was stuck on a New York crosstown bus during rush hour. It was a rainy, sleety night. Two men on the bus barked at each other after an accidental shove. A pregnant woman got on and nobody offered her a seat. Rage was in the air. As they approached 7th Avenue, the driver got on the intercom. "Folks," he said, "I know you've had a tough day and you're frustrated. If I can do anything about," he said, "I can't do anything about the weather or the traffic, but here's what I can do. As each one of you gets off the bus, I will reach out my hand to you. As you walk by, drop your troubles into the palm of my hand, okay? Don't take your problems home with you to your families tonight. Leave them with me. My route goes right by the Hudson River, and when I drive by there later, I'll open the window and throw your troubles into the water." Sound good? It was in that moment, Elizabeth writes, as if a spell had been lifted. Everyone burst out laughing. Faces gleamed with surprise and delight. People who were pretending for the past hour not to notice each other's existence were suddenly grinning at each other. Is this guy serious? Oh yeah, he was serious. At the next stop, just as promised, the driver reached out his hand palm up and waited, and one by one, all of the exiting commuters placed their hand just above his and pretended the gesture of dropping something into his palm. Some people laughed as they did this. Some people teared up, but everyone did it. The driver repeated the same amazing ritual at the next stop too, and the next one, all the way to the river. Elizabeth Gilbert said that this bus driver reminded her that anyone can be the light. In a difficult situation, we can ask ourselves, what can we do to be the light? Our affirmation for today is, I am an instrument of God's pure love in the world. I respond with compassion. A few years ago, our rabbit Gizmo was acting sluggish and she wasn't eating or going to the bathroom. So we took her to the vet, and it turns out she had fluid in her upper body, and the vet said it could be cancer or it could be an infection, and she also had a hair mass in her digestive system. The vet indicated that there was a really strong chance that she would not survive. And we spent 2 hours at the vet and a few $100s. Afterward, we were exhausted and upset, and we went to Hawaiian Moon's to get a salad. And we ran into two people that we knew near the salad bar. Upon hearing our news about Gizmo, the first one said, in the scope of problems, all the problems on the planet, what does the health of one rabbit mean? The second person said, oh, well, maybe it's time for her to leave the planet. We were shocked. You know, most of us have had interactions like this that leave us scratching our heads. You know, it surprises us and annoys us when people we consider friends, decent, kind people, seem to abandon us when we're most in need of emotional support. This kind of interaction can lead to anger and judgment and recriminations, and we felt frustrated and disappointed, and you know, that kind of felt like, wow, you don't care about me. You know, but here's the problem. In such a circumstance, both parties feel that their feelings have been trampled on. Consider what happens inside us when we view the suffering of others. When we experience physical pain or emotional distress ourselves, a neural circuit becomes activated. Neuroscientific research shows that this same circuit gets activated when we see others suffer pain or emotional distress. So, seeing the suffering of others causes us to suffer as well. Although the response is crucial for social interaction, it is indeed unpleasant. If that circuit is hit too frequently, through excessive sharing of others, sharing their negative and hurtful experiences, it can lead to emotional burnout. And so people develop strategies for protecting themselves. Some do what I believe the people at Hawaiian Moons did. They put physical and emotional distance between themselves and our suffering. Some people stay present but emotionally dissociate, which is the sufferer recognizes and feels that and usually experiences as an emotional abandonment. Joseph Campbell wrote, "The universe always strikes you at your weakest point because that's what most needs strengthening." Wow, isn't that kind of an amazing way to look at it? It's like the things happen in our lives and we react to them because we have something that we can learn and we can heal from. Our fear often causes us to resist this universal opportunity to heal and to become stronger. We can sometimes interpret this growth opportunity as unfair. We can try to avoid it. We can try and push it away. In this talk titled Living Compassion, we're going to look at some principles that we can apply to live compassion, to evolve spiritually during challenging situations. And again, our affirmation for today is, think about it, and then I'll ask you to repeat it with me. I am an instrument of God's pure love in the world. Let's say that part together. I am an instrument of God's pure love in the world. I respond with compassion. Let's say that together. I respond with compassion. Why should we practice compassion? Scientific research into the measurable benefits of compassion is relatively young. And preliminary findings suggest that being compassionate can improve health. It can improve our well-being and can improve our relationships. Many scientists believe that compassion may even be vital to the survival of our species. Being compassionate makes us feel good and actually reduces the risk of heart disease and heart attacks. Studies show that being compassionate may also make us more resilient to stress. Wow, so many powerful things that we can experience and benefit from being compassionate. By showing compassion, a person not only helps the other person, but in essence helps themselves as well. This is because everything we do in life is linked through a cause and effect system. By doing good to others, we receive positivity and contentment. We receive peace. Unlike anything that we could have achieved if we only did things for ourselves. The term compassion comes from the its linguistic roots in Latin terms. Cum means with, and pati means suffering. So practically speaking, we have compassion when we set aside indifference and connect with those in pain. Curiously, this seems to be the first step in healing of ourselves and others. You know, when Jesus saw the blind men, for example, he had compassion on them and he touched their eyes. Immediately, they received their sight and followed him. That story is from Matthew chapter 20, verse 34. When he saw groups yearning for his teaching, he had compassion on them and he healed their sick. And that's in Matthew chapter 14, verse 14. All these examples of Jesus' compassion have two things in common. First of all, Jesus notices that the people around him. This tells that compassion is only possible when we are attuned to others. If we are absorbed in our own feelings and our problems and our worries and our desires, we will overlook the needs of those that we can reach out to help. And if we're focused on ourselves, we miss the opportunity to heal ourselves as well. And the affirmation again is, I am an instrument of God's pure love in the world. I respond with compassion. You know, Jesus responds to people. Instead of reacting to them, he listens to the 10 lepers rather than being irritated that they're interrupting his conversation. He takes time to speak with the woman who touches the hem of his garment instead of simply chastising her for lacking appropriate boundaries. Jesus reached out to them and touched their eyes. He spoke to them. He wasn't irritated by them. He healed them by being compassionate to them. Like anything else, we get better at compassion when we practice. So here are some ideas of some things that we can do to practice. And the first one is to change our perspective and turn up our empathy. You know, we can spend 5 minutes a day practicing putting ourselves in someone else's shoes. You know, by looking at a news report and choosing somebody in the news or a neighbor or a member of our family and really contemplate, what does it feel like to be that person? Just to have compassion and love for them and sort of walk a mile in their shoes. Another thing that we can do is we can pause before speaking when someone is sharing a difficulty with us. We can take a breath. So often, I know you've had it happen to you and you've probably observed it with other people. When somebody's having a hard time, someone will listen for a moment and then quickly change the subject and make the situation be about them. And in a sense, draw the compassion away from the person that is asking for help and bring it back onto themselves. And so let's really make an effort to pay attention to people, to follow Jesus' example, and to, when we notice that somebody's hurting, to take a breath and to allow ourselves to be present to others, to really hear them. Scripture tells us that people look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. Wow. What a gift that we can give to really be present for others and to look at the heart, rather than getting caught up in our own stories and our own issues, to take that opportunity just to be really present for someone and to feel and to listen and be present with our heart. To let our thoughts come from our hearts. Remember, we are here to be in sacred service to others. Don't you know that's true? We are all one in spirit. We're here to help others to feel connected, to help them feel present, to be there and to have compassion so that we support others on their spiritual journey. People who feel connected to others have lower rates of anxiety and depression. Studies show that people who help others live longer than people who do not. Another thing that we can really look at doing and showing compassion is to take action. As we drove past a homeless camp here on Maui a couple days ago, we noticed that there was a table in the camp that had a sign on it that said free stuff. And we noticed that there was food there and other things that people had left for the homeless people in this camp. And we thought, wow, what can we do? What can we give to help? And as you know, Reverend Mary passed recently, and Mary has some blankets and some sheets. And what we've decided to do is we're going to take some of those things and drop them off on this table to take action, to be compassionate. It's important, I really believe, that we look for ways to be compassionate and to take action. Another thing that we can do is to smile. We never know how our smile will help another person. And we can take that effort to smile, even in these days of wearing masks. I think we're really getting focused on looking at people's eyes. Yes, and can't you tell when someone smiles by looking at their eyes? And I think it's so important now, in this time especially, that we smile at each other. During the same time when Gizmo was sick, we took Gizmo to Kula Animal Hospital, and the veterinarian assistant told us that she told us that she was recently at Costco, and she was feeling very sad because she lost her partner. And she said that she passed me in the produce room at Costco, and I smiled at her. And she didn't know who I was, and she told us when we saw her that the smile that I gave to her, offered her, instantly made her feel better. And then she recognized me when we went to Kula Hospital. Just a smile. If we can just realize that, sometimes we can be compassionate. And what does it take to smile? It's such a gentle and soft effort for us to have compassion for others. Remember, we are human beings. I really believe that our purpose here is to love each other and to support each other and to reconnect with each other and to be compassionate. Our compassion is healing the world. Compassion is contagious. Acts of generosity and kindness beget more generosity in a chain reaction of goodness. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. That was a quote from the Dalai Lama. No matter who we are, where you are, or how difficult or mundane the challenging situations may be, you can illuminate the world. This is how the world is illuminated, after all. One bright act of compassion at a time, all the way to the river. I am an instrument of God's pure love in the world. I respond with compassion. Let's say that together. I am an instrument of God's pure love in the world. I respond with compassion. And I invite you to close your eyes. Let's join together for a few moments in meditation, breathing in, breathing out. And let's allow ourselves just to fully embrace this moment. Breathing in, breathing out, and settling into this moment. Connecting with the love and compassion that we are. That is our essence. That is our truth. That is the very presence of Spirit within us. It is our gift to the world. As we follow the teachings of Jesus, as we follow the teachings of the Buddha, breathing in and breathing out. And to relax into that place of compassion. To imagine that this loving energy is filling our bodies, filling our minds, filling our hearts. Knowing that this is the essence of life. This is why we are here. To be the Christ presence. To be the Buddha mind, the Buddha heart. To love. To share this love. To be empowered. Breathing in and breathing out. And let's take just a moment to settle into the silence, to feel compassion. And bring your awareness and your attention back to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Feeling the love in this moment. Feeling your own heart. Feeling the power of love that is strong in you. Breathing in, breathing out. And gently bringing your awareness back to this moment, right here, right now. And so it is. Namaste. Well, I invite you now to prepare your contributions and your love offerings to Unity Church of Maui, and to consider how these teachings have affected your life and how they have encouraged you to indeed be the light of the world. So as you hold this gratitude in your mind and in your heart, let's pray and affirm together our affirmation and our prayer of prosperity, which begins, Through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Thank you. And so how can you give to Unity Church of Maui? There's a couple different ways. You can send a check to Unity Church of Maui at 483 South High Street in Wailuku. And you can also go to our website, www.unityonmaui.org, and make a safe donation there on our website, and just by clicking on the donate button. And thank you in advance for your gifts to us. It is your gifts that give us a lot of the energy that we get to use to do this great work. And thank you. I'm very excited to tell you this, that next week's talk is titled, Everything is Holy Now. Many of us have been inspired by Reverend Mary Omwake and her teachings, and she's really touched people all over the world. And as you might know, Mary was the recipient of Unity's Light of God Expressing Award in 2013. Quite a significant honor was given to her that day for so much work that she's done. And she served in 3 thriving ministries, including Overland Park and here on Maui. And she was a founding member of the Association of Global New Thought and a catalyst for Seasons of Peace and Nonviolence. And so next Sunday, I am having this talk really be about Mary and even more about Mary's teachings, and it's a tribute to Mary. It's not a memorial service. We will have one at some point, but next week I thought it'd be really beautiful just to talk about Mary and some of the predominant things that she taught and how we can apply those things in our lives. And so that next week's service will start at 9:30 and not 10 o'clock. It'll be happening live at Unity Church of Maui, but you'll need to have reservations because we have limited seating. And you'll need to contact Emily Goss at 808-268-8310 to reserve your spot. And so you want to do that. And just as a reminder, we are being very careful, and everyone will be required to wear a mask and social distance. And we are only going to have 20 people at the service. So make your reservations quickly. And, our good friend Kurt Lee will be there providing music live. And I've got some other music ideas that we may incorporate into the service. So I think it'll be very uplifting and fun and powerful. And I've even arranged with Mary for her to do the meditation next Sunday. So you'll have to come and see how that's going to happen. We will not be on Zoom next week. We will be doing Facebook Live. And of course, our talk will be recorded and put up on our YouTube page. And next week also is a soft opening. So we are celebrating and planning on continuing on Sundays after next Sunday. And for the time being, those services will also be by reservation only. And I will announce the time in our newsletter and on our webpage, because the times could be different. So please pay attention to that. And again, you can contact Emily at 808-268-8310 to make your reservation. And thank you. I look forward to our tribute to Mary and celebrating what a great friend and spiritual teacher she was and is. And also, books and personal treasures of Mary will be for sale, and the money will be collected and donated to Unity Church of Maui. So if you'd like to have a little something that was Mary's, come to the service as well, and you can explore some of the treasures that we have to offer. And let's see, you may know that our Aloha groups, our new series, Happy This Year, starts this week. In fact, this Thursday, which is the 29th, I think. Is that right? Yep. And that's going to happen at 7 o'clock on Facebook, or excuse me, on Zoom. And those links are in the newsletter and on our webpage. So we look forward to seeing you for that. This is a great small group series based on Will Bowen's book, Happy This Year. And kind of what he says is, happiness isn't a result of getting or achieving. Instead, happiness is a cause that is the shortest and most direct path to personal fulfillment and achievement. So this would be a great time for us to get together and explore this amazing work together. Let's see what else we got. Oh, you might know that we've been doing a capital campaign for a new, to get a shuttle, because we do anticipate that we'll be back in our building soon. And we had have a target of $10,000. And last week we reached $6,000. And I know that there's more coming in, so thank you for your gifts. And if you've been waiting to give, now would be a really good time. Any amount is fantastic, and thank you in advance for giving. Let's see. If you like our talks, you can always go to our YouTube page, and there's numerous talks up there, as well as a whole lot of music from many different musicians that have come and played for us. And so I want to tell you also, I did post a Ho'oponopono meditation that I created, and that is on our YouTube page. So check that out. I think you'll find it to be very relaxing and healing at the same time. With all that being said, thank you for being here today. I love you and I appreciate you, and I behold the Christ in you. And I'm so glad that you are part of this ministry. So why don't we end in our traditional way by praying together the prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. God bless you, friend. Mahalo and aloha.
Where I live, they're all raised